Welcome to the Narrative Observation and Documentation Workshop. This is presented by the Student Assessment Unit at the Ministry of Education and Information. My name is Rena Hernandez. Meet the rest of the team. We have Natalia Chattergoon Singh, Joanna Marugo, Shanique Bailey-Wright, Jocelyn Robinson-Edwards, and Medalise Breen. This workshop is designed to equip early childhood educators with the skills and knowledge to effectively implement narrative observation and documentation techniques in their classrooms. By mastering these methods, you will be able to enhance your evaluation practices, better understand your students' developmental progress, and create more inclusive and individualized learning experiences. Throughout this workshop, we will explore the definitions, purposes, and practical applications of anecdotal records, running records, and narrative observations. You will learn how to systematically observe, document, and analyze children's behaviors and interactions, enabling you to be making informed instructional decisions and foster meaningful communication with parents and families.
We begin all of our sessions with engaging icebreakers to set the tone for the collaboration and the learning that we are going to do. Today's icebreaker is observation in action. Two truths and a tale. We will form groups of 4 to 5, and each person will think of 3 statements, 2 truths and a fictional statement. For example, my 3 statements might be: I've been teaching for 10 years. I once met a famous author. I can speak 5 languages fluently. Each person in the group will think about the statements that have been made, think about them, and listen very closely, making observations as they go along, and decide which is the tale among the 3 statements that have been made by the individual. After everyone has guessed, the speaker will now reveal which statement is the tale. This activity requires careful listening and observation skills, and these are critical in narrative observations in the classroom. Sharing stories with colleagues builds rapport, it builds a trust, just as sharing the observations that a teacher has made in the classroom with parents and colleagues. That can build a rapport, and that can build on the relationships between teachers and parents. In addition to that, it subtly reinforces the importance of paying attention to details, and that is important in narrative observations as well. This brings us to the goals and objectives of this workshop. The goals are to: 1, to deepen the educator's understanding of narrative observation and documentation techniques. 2, to enhance educators' ability to use observational data to inform instructional planning and individualized support. 3, to foster effective communication with parents and families through clear, objective documentation. By the end of this workshop, participants will be able to define and differentiate between anecdotal records, running records, and narrative observation, apply systematic observation techniques to gather accurate and meaningful data about children's behaviors and progress. 3, create clear, objective, and detailed anecdotal and running records. 4, use observational data to identify patterns, strengths, and areas of growth in children's development. And 5, reflect on their observations to adapt teaching strategies and to create inclusive learning environments. Let me now introduce you to my colleague from the Ministry of Education and Information, Miss Natalia Chattergoon Singh, who will continue with our workshop today.
Get Good day, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. My name is Miss Natalia Chattergoon Singh, and I would like to start by defining what observation is. Observation is a systematic method of watching, listening, and documenting behaviors, actions, or events to gather accurate data. It's a powerful tool used to measure children's progress, track developmental milestones, and understand their social interactions. As Peterson and Elam noted in 2020, observation is the key to understanding children's unique needs and strengths. This quote highlights the importance of observation in tailoring our approach to meet each child's individual needs. On the screen, you'll see an image of a teacher observing children in a classroom. This is a great example of how observation happens in real-world settings, quietly, intentionally, and with a focus on understanding. Now let's talk about anecdotal records. These are brief factual accounts of specific incidents or behaviors. They include actions, direct quotes, and observable behaviors without any assumptions or interpretations. Anecdotal records are incredibly useful because they help track a child's progress over time. They also provide an opportunity to build rapport with parents and families. By sharing these records, teachers can communicate effectively about a child's progress, strengths, and areas for improvement. So now that we know about anecdotal records, let's discuss some of its key features. Key features of anecdotal records include the date, time, context, and objective details. These elements ensure the records are clear, accurate, and useful for future reference. As you can see on the screen, there is an example of an anecdotal record template. Notice how it's structured to capture essential information in a concise and organized way. Now this raises a key question: the importance of anecdotal records. Now, anecdotal records help teachers reflect on their lessons and adjust them to better suit the needs of each child. This supports the creation of an inclusive and meaningful learning curriculum that addresses individual needs, helping all children progress at their own pace. By documenting observable behaviors and events, anecdotal records not only support parent-teacher communication, but also serves as an important tool for instructional planning and individualized support, ultimately benefiting both the teacher and the child's development. Thank you so much. I will now hand you over to my colleague, Miss Jocelyn.
Let's look at a practical example of an anecdotal record. This one was taken during a small group reading session. Here's what was observed. Jessia is showing growing confidence in reading. She has some difficulties blending her control vowels, but is able to self-correct. Despite these challenges, she remains engaged and motivated. Based on these observations, the next step include practicing blended strategies to strengthen her skills, using decodable text to build her confidence further. Based on these observations, the next step include practicing blended strategies to strengthen her skills, using decodable text to build her confidence further.
Now, let's get into the concept of running records. This is a methodological way to document a student's reading behavior, mistakes, and strategies using a reading session. It's a powerful tool because it provides both quantitative and qualitative data, which can help guide your teaching methods and tailor instruction to meet the needs of each student. To create a running record, follow these steps. 1. Observe and document everything the child says and does during the reading session. This includes their correct responses, errors, self-corrections, and even the tone or body language. 2. Use abbreviations or shorthand to make the process more efficient. For example, you might use symbols like SC for self-correction or R for repetition. And 3. Analyze the record. After the session, to identify the student's strengths and challenges, this analysis will help you plan targeted interventions or support. On the screen, you will see an example of a running record with coding symbols. Notice how the symbols and shorthand make it easier to capture the student's reading behaviors in real time. This visual will help you understand how to structure your own running records. Let's look at practical examples of a running record in action. Here we have a student, Janessa, who is 7 years old. She's reading a book entitled The Big Red Dog. During the observation, we noticed a few key behaviors. Janessa struggles with blending sounds but is able to self-correct familiar words. This shows she has some strategies in place for decoding. However, she hesitates on less familiar words, particularly those with R-controlled vowels like car or bird. This indicates an area where she needs additional support. On the screen, you'll see a sample running record with error analysis. Based on this running record, the next steps for Janessa could include 1. Reinforcing R-controlled vowels through multisensory activities such as using letter tiles or drawing attention to these patterns in text. 2. Encouraging self-monitoring for meaning, which means helping her check whether the words she reads make sense in the context of the story. This example highlights how to identify patterns in a student's reading and use that information to inform your teaching. Running records give valuable insights into your students' reading development and provide the targeted support they need to grow as readers. Now that we've explored running records, I will invite my colleague, Ms. Shanique Bailey-Wright, to move on to the next topic.
Good afternoon, my name is Shanique Bailey-Wright, and today I am going to be talking to you about narrative observation. What makes narrative observation unique? It is its stories, like format. Instead of just recording data points, it describes events in details, offering context to a child's action and behavior. For example, it might capture not only what a student did during a reading session, but also how they react emotionally or socially. This method allows educators to understand the sequence of events and the factor of influencing a child's response, such as their confidence level, engaging, or interaction with peers. By capturing these details, narrative observation becomes a powerful tool for understanding the whole child and making informed instructional decisions. As we conclude this workshop, take a moment to reflect on the skills and knowledge you have gained today. Narrative observation and documentation are powerful tools that not only advance your ability to understand and support each child's unique development, but also strengthens your communication with parents and families. By systematically observing, documenting, and reflecting on children's behavior and interaction, you can create a more inclusive, responsive, and effective learning environment. Remember, the key to a successful observation is objectivity, actions to details, and a commitment to continuous reflection. As you return to your classroom, we encourage you today apply these techniques consistently and share your experience with your colleagues. Today, we can ensure that every child receive the support they need to strive. Are there any questions for us today? Please provide us with your feedback. It is extremely important for us at the ministry. Thank you for your active participation today, and we wish you continued success in your journey as an early childhood educator. Bye for now.